I didn't plan it to happen, but it happened anyway. Self-love is such a great thing, but my wallet ain't so great.
Hello again to this place of wonder and books and wonder. Today I will be giving you a book haul since I asked like a couple weeks ago or a month ago if you wanted me to do a book haul, and 13 of you said yes, so I guess that is the majority since nobody actually said no. So here is the book haul that I have been postponing for a couple months because new packages keep coming through that door. So your girl has to do what she has to do. I'll keep links of the shops down in the description below so that you can check it out for yourself. If you find a few of these books interesting to you, then I'll help you out with that. Let's get started because I have no idea how many there are. Quite a lot. I think there are a lot. There are a lot for me. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna get is just anything, just random, just picking up stuff, whatever is closest to me. I think you already know this, which is like the complete Twilight Saga set. I don't know if Midnight Sun is like the 5th book or if it's like a new book in a series. So basically the Twilight series consists of Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn. And the next one I got was Middle Game by Shannon McGuire. Basically about two siblings who are on the path of becoming gods, I think. It's very odd. I don't even know the genre of this. And let me tell you, like, this cover is like gorgeous. This cover is just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Like, it's beautiful. I'm in love with this. Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I really wanted to get this thriller for a very long time now. And I also thought that the storyline of this book was very interesting. Basically, this is like about a guy who meets a woman in a bar. He makes a joke about he wants to kill his wife. And then this woman was like, okay, I'll help you out with whatever plans you have for your wife. And yeah, things go down from there. And you can already sense that the sarcasm in that woman's voice is not evident at all. The Hate You Give, and On the Come Up by both by Andy Thomas. I wanted to read more by Black authors. They're very hard to find here in local shops, local bookstores, which I wanted to support, but they're very hard to find, like books written by Black authors, which is odd, which is skeptical when you think about it. This is book 1, 2, 3, 6 of the Mortal Instrument series. I don't have 4 and 5 because I don't have any money anymore to afford them. That says a lot about my lifestyle, isn't it? Anyway, I bought this also individually in all kinds of different places and shops because they were so hard to find in like these editions, because these are the only editions that I will accept because I'm very picky with my editions, which is this edition, and I love the flappity flap. Iconic. If you don't know what the Mortal Instruments are about, it's basically about a girl who discovers the world of shadow hunters who kill demons. Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I've been meaning to read this book for quite some time now because the plot intrigues me. The only reason why I haven't gotten it any sooner was because it was new adult, which I kind of am skeptical when it comes to like contemporary stories. This book is basically about a family who is experiencing the aftermath of the death of their daughter. Invisible Man by Rolf Ellison. To be honest, I don't know hardly anything about this book. All I know is that it deals with Black men who are fighting for their lives, who also endures communist rally, that's what it says. You know, I'm doing a good job in describing this book. Anyway, I thought this was interesting and something that I could learn something from. So yeah, I'm sorry if I'm not describing this book properly or not giving this book any kind of justice. Warstorm by Victoria Aveyard, which is the 4th book in the Red Queen series, which I am so happy that I finally own, because now that I have this, I feel much safer with continuing the series, you know. It's such a beautiful little one. So yeah, I'm a happy kid. I also got a copy of Animal Farm by George Orwell, which I also don't really know what this is about. All I know that this is a very important classic book that has been banned by a bunch of countries. I think including this one. I'm not so sure. And it's very short, thank goodness. The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I watched this movie, the old movie, when I was like 8 years old, and I was trash for that movie. It was fantastic. It was so mesmerizing. I still remember it very clearly to this day. And when I found this book for sale, I took my opportunity and get it without question. Basically, this is more like about a guy who goes more than 800,000 years into the future, or something like that, because he goes to a year 800,700, something like that. Anyway, that's very long from now. And he discovers that the world is absolutely not what he thought it would be. And it's kind of haunting what he discovers there. I recommend it. I recommend the movie. I don't know about the book yet, but I think the book is also pretty great. The complete Hunger Games trilogy, which I had no idea that I would ever buy this in the first place, because I watched the movies already and I love the movies, but I never figured that I would actually read the books. But here I am, and I'm going to read them and I'm gonna love them. So basically the series consists of The Hunger Games, Mockingjay, Catching Fire, and then Mockingjay. The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King, which is his first fantasy novel, I believe, that he wrote for his daughter. I actually already owned this book before in hardcover version, which is rare, I know, but I kind of needed money at that time, so I sold it, and then now I'm getting the paperback version because I still want to read the book. I don't feel sorry at all that I got just a paperback version, because this paperback is like still freaking gorgeous. I mean, look all the tanning, look all those folded pages, like it's such an old treasure, and the illustrations are still very cool and evident. See, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Such a gold thing. It's gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Both by Agatha Christie, which is The Body in the Library and Then There Were None. I know this is a very well-known book by Agatha Christie herself, and also this one because, you know, I wanted to read more books that are about books or that are centered in a library or a bookstore or something, so hooray. And by the way, these are also very beautiful editions. I mean, they are so old. Like, this is like gold tanning. I love that so much. Most of all in these kinds of editions. The Girls by Emma Cline, which is a contemporary, I think. Because basically the only thing that I know about this book, and I don't even know if I'm right, is that this is about a cult, or it revolves around a cult, and it's queer. It sold me though. I also got Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, because I loved his book For Everyone, and I saw this and I did not hesitate to get it, so I got it and here it is. I also read it already twice in 2 days, and I'm just breathless over it. This is a book written in verse about a teenager who wants to take revenge to the person who shot his brother on the streets. Do Androids Dream by Philip K. Dick. This is the book that inspired Blade Runner movie. Yeah, the movie Blade Runner, which I haven't also watched, which is very cliche of me. I wanted to like make myself read more sci-fi, and I thought that gravitating more to like classic sci-fi books would be a nice way for me to start, because I always am fond of classic sci-fi. And I also thought that the title was like so bizarre and so crazy and so weird, and that hooked me already. Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I would never thought of myself of like purchasing this book and actually reading this book. And yet again, I keep surprising myself because, you know, I think that's my talent these days, surprising myself for the misfortunes that I keep putting myself in. Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. Honestly, I also don't know what this is about. I know that this is a very well-known book also. Yeah, I keep picking up books that I've heard before and maybe I like them. I don't know. Sometimes sometimes like to pick up books that I've heard but I don't actually know what they're about, but I just pick them up because maybe, you know, some gems, hidden gems in those books that I think are great. Wow, that really didn't mean anything, didn't. I got Dangerous Girls by Abigail Hayes. You already know how I feel about this book if you have watched my previous wrap-up video. you know. So I also got this nonfiction book by Susan Cain. All I know that it has a thing about introverts. I'm sure that it's a much deeper book, or the book covers much more of a deeper topic than that. But the spectrum is surrounded by the power of introverts, or just introverts in general. So it interested me because I consider myself an introvert. More Than This by Patrick Ness. This is one of the books that Books and Lala recommended in her LGBTQ plus book recommendations. And she's recommended this book also tons of times before. And I already thought that this book was also very interesting in the first place because it is like about a guy who dies and then he wakes up naked in an empty world, I guess. I really am doing a very good job in explaining all these books, and I really apologize because I am not in the right head. But when am I in the right head? I have to question that. The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertelli, which is the second book of the Simon Verse series trilogy. I'm not sure anymore. The biography of Virginia Woolf. I always wanted to read Virginia Woolf's books because they are dark, I think, dark and depressing, which is my kind of jam. I guess I wanted to know more about her background, about her life, before I dive into her work, because I feel like I'll have a more connection to her work when I do that. So I also got two thrillers, which I have no idea what they're generally about. The only thing I know about this is that it has a very shocking ending that most people will hate or love. And I really hope that I'm one of those people who will love it and who will die for it. I won't die for it. Never mind. That's a wrong analogy. I have no idea what this is about as well. I only know the author, that she is also quite a well-known thriller writer. They're not that fluffy though, which is so sad. And I also got The Roads by Cormac McCarthy. I'm not sure if the genre of this is horror or thriller. This is a story about a father and a son who are on a path to go to a certain destination, and they're not even sure what awaits them in that destination. The story just revolves on their journey going towards it. And yeah, I think it's kind of disturbing to read, maybe. Not the graphic kind of disturbing. I mean, like, your nerves start to be uncomfortable for like the surroundings that the book may make you feel, I don't know. I also got this nonfiction book called Loneliness. Don't ask me why I got this. So basically this book is just about loneliness in a very scientific, psychological explanation. To understand it, explain it. I thought that would be very interesting for me to understand the concept of the human emotion or experience. I'm just interested, okay? Okay? Don't think of me as otherwise. So I also got one of the so-called well-known, slightly king authors in the thriller genre, which is Riley Sager. I'm intrigued by the title alone, by the graphics of the book cover alone, and Stephen King blurbed it. And basically what I know even from thrillers, from the experience of reading thrillers, is that you shouldn't really know much about the book in the first place so that you can like avoid so many spoilers from the synopsis when you get into the book. Then I also got all three books by Gillian Flynn, which all three of these are like thrillers. I'm interested in all three of these. I've watched the Gone Girl movie, but I think I watched that when I was like, 7th grade? And I didn't understand what was going on, and I kind of forgotten so many things that happened there, so it doesn't really matter. If I read the book, I will still probably be shook by whatever will take place. So this is Gone Girl, Dark Places, and Sharp Objects. Artemis by Andy Weir. This is a sci-fi-ish thriller that takes place on the moon. And I think basically Artemis is like the only human lunar colony. All I know about the author himself is that he also wrote The Martian, which also has been adapted to a movie which I watched and I thoroughly enjoyed. Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. The only thing I know is that it revolves around a girl who is kind of dark, psychotic a little bit, and she just does things, unexplainable things, suddenly out of the blue. like outbursts. And by the title alone, I kind of felt intrigued to read about it because, you know, female as a species, really. And I also got the first 4 books of the Unwind series because there's like this one book, the last book called Unbound, which I don't have yet. This series is basically about a dystopian world where abortion is no longer allowed, and that when a parent doesn't want their child anymore, they can make their child go through an unwinding. An unwind is like giving your organs to people who are in need, which is, if you think about it, it's kind of crazy for a world like that, like ours, to implement such a law. And imagine our parents letting that happen to us. I mean, that is like horrific, very disturbing. The books consist of Unwind, Unholy, Unwoolly, Unsold, Undivided. Both sci-fi books by Ernest Cline, which is Ready Player One and Armada. Ready Player One has also been adapted to a movie that I don't think many people appreciate, I think. Anyway, this book is very popular. A lot of people love this. I've heard so many great things about this book, and I also saw his other book and I thought the cover was beautiful. Basically, if you don't know what this is about, it's basically like a virtual reality kind of sci-fi book. It also revolves, I guess, around video games. Scythe trilogy, which I already read the first book and I loved that so much. It was such a different experience that I've ever had when it comes to reading anything that I've ever read before. Basically, this is more of a utopian world where everything is basically so perfect because nobody dies anymore. We actually escape death. There's no more diseases, no more despair, no more misery. But in order to sustain population of the planet, Scythe have taken this control to end somebody's life in a very fair way, I guess. We basically follow these 2 characters in the path of Scythehood, and we just basically learn more about the world, which is so interesting, so fascinating. So the first book is Scythe. I'm sorry, from the very beginning, I think it's supposed to be Scythe, not Scythe. I keep forgetting that. Thunderhead, The Toll, Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zusak. Well, you already know that I love The Book Thief wholeheartedly. I wanted to read more of Marcus Zusak's work, and I believe that Bridge of Clay was one of those books that he took years to write. I've also heard that this book is quite difficult to read and you have a lot of effort to read it because the writing is very one of a kind. It's confusing, but I believe in Marcus Zusak. I believe that I will love this book. I believe it will do something incredibly different to my soul. What this book is about is like it revolves around a family. Father wants to like build this bridge, and Clay, one of the brothers in the family, is the only one who actually helps his father build that bridge. And the story is told by one of the older brothers, but he is only telling the story with the perspective of Clay. So I hope you got that because it was very confusing even for me. I mean, this blue and this drawings on there, like, how can I thank you? Pale Fire by Vladimir Nabokov. I hope I did not butcher your name again. This is basically a very long poem. The first half of the book is just a poem, and then the second half of this book is like the discussion and explanation of the poem, of the meanings of the poem and stuff like that. And I thought that that was such a very interesting concept for this book. It's a 999 line poem, by the way. I'm not even sure if the poem is written by Vladimir himself or something like that, or that the writer of the poem is by a fictional character. I'm not even sure. It's kind of mixed up in my head. It is kind of like, it's dark, it's suspenseful, and it's a little bit political as well. Never Let Me Go. This book is like about a group of friends who used to study together, and then they meet after many years when they're adults, and that's all I know. It's very vague. I think this book is more of an aim to like friendship and identity. I wanted to, pick up more books by Asian authors instead of just picking up Haruki Murakami. Perfume by Patrick Suskind. This book is about a guy who is born without a scent. You heard me right. He gets like obsessed with this scent of this other woman that he comes across to. This obsession that he has with this scent, he goes on this path to make a specific perfume out of that scent that he is obsessed with, and in that process of making that perfume, he leads himself to a murder. A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihira. You see, the only thing I know about this book is that it revolves around a group of college friends, and that's all. And I think that's all I need to know, that I should know, because many people were destroyed by this book in a certain way that I really am curious about that, because I want to know if I will also get the same traumatic experience. I actually want to, because I haven't cried much over a book in a long time. Like, I mean, really cried, like sobbed to death from that. I'm yearning for that right now. I hope this does the trick. It's a very hefty one, but I'm here for it. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This is a very well-known book because it's one of those classics that everybody should read, I guess. The only thing I also know about this is that it's depressing and it's dark, which is, it's calling my name. The complete Conqueror Saga trilogy is an historical fiction that is about a female version of Vladimir, and that she has been taken from her homeland with her sibling. I guess throughout the story I will just see a lot of brutality and ruthless acts being done to them, but I'm also anticipating that these characters who are being treated that way will get the sweet revenge that they deserve, which is exactly where I'm here for as well. The first book is And I Darken. The next one is Now I Rise. And the third and the final book is Bright We Burn. You're forgetting this one. My name is Akin Vanes, and I'll see you in the next video. I need to retire soon.